Good afternoon, grade 11s, and welcome to your LO lesson for today. My name is Puleni Ziga, and I am your LO teacher for the duration of the lockdown. On the screen are my contact details, which is my email address, litikapuleng@yahoo.com. So Litika is my surname, Puleng is my name, and that is all in small letters, and it is at yahoo.com. So, all right, that is my email address. You welcome to email me with regards to anything that you want to speak to me. All right, there we go. You can, sorry for that. You are welcome to speak to me and email me with regards to anything that you want to know about. So, all right. Can you guys please tell me if you can see my screen? If you
can see your screen, Puleng, but your voice is breaking. Puleng? Puleng? Can you hear me, Puleng? Hi, Puleng, can you hear me? We can't hear you. Puleng, please will you leave the meeting and join again? We can't hear you. Hi guys, we're just sorting out some technical difficulties. Just give us a minute or two.
All right, sorry for that, grade 11s. Let us continue with the class. So I just need an indication of whether you can hear me or not. So if you can please just go to the chat box and tell me whether you can hear me or not. It was a sound problem, so we're just fixing the sound. All right. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know whether you can hear me or not. So before we continue, I just want you to tell me whether you can hear me or not. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Because I don't know now how much work we've lost from the previous slide because it seems as you couldn't hear me. So I'm just gonna go recap on the previous slide. So every person's brain is different because of the way in which it is wired. Your brain is special and unique. Each brain prefers to learn in a particular way. You need to find a way in which your brain is wired. If you get to know what your brain requires, you can improve. So basically, what it's saying is that there's not one brain that is the exact same as another brain. So you have your own brain set and it is unique. So that is why it is important to find what is more suitable for you, a more suitable study style for you to use so that you can be able to maximize your potential so that you can get your best results. So studying with your friend's study method or your sister's study method really won't work out best for you. You need to find your own unique way of studying so it can improve your way of doing tasks and studying. So the way you're going to approach your task is very different because now you're approaching your task knowing what your study style is, and then you're also going to approach your studying, the actual studying, in a way that you're going to study more effectively. And then your understanding of school subjects, you're going to know what you're good at. So you'll choose the subjects that you know you're good at, and then you'll know how to study for your different school subjects, and then how you remember information needed for the exams. So it'll also give you an indication of how you're going to remember. So there are everyone's brain set is divided into two: a left hand side and a right hand side, and then the different sides of the brain work in different ways. So some people are more right brained and other people are more left brained. So your learning preference will depend on your liking for right or left brain thinking. So nobody's 100% left brained or 100% right brained. So you have a preference of either dominance on either the left or the right hand side of your brain. So one side is not better or worse. It's just that it is your set of brains and you are more likely to do better when you use that side of the brain than you are to the other. So everybody needs to develop both sides of your brain. So if you're more reliant on your left hand side of the brain, you can't neglect the right hand side of the brain. You still want to be a balanced individual, and now you also need to develop your right hand side of the brain because you also need those abilities too. So, however, when you study, you can use a study style that suits the dominant side of your brain while also trying to develop the less dominant side. So, you need both sides of your brain to work together for learning. So, you're going to mostly rely on your left, not your left, depending on whether you're left or right, on the brain side that you more dominant with, and then at the same time you're going to also try to develop the other side of your brain. So okay, use your brain dominance to help you study. So we are going to look at the more right brained people. So more right brained people let me do this quickly. Let me check something. Okay. All right. Let's just go back again. So, when you are right-brained, you need to finish what you start. You need to keep your daydreaming under control. So right-brained people are more creative people. So before we start, so that you can understand. So those are more your arty people, your creative people, people who use their imagination more. And then your left-brain people are people who are more critical, who are more like calculative kind of thinkers, people who will do more or less like maths or science, and then people who are right brained will do more theory and more creative stuff. So remember, you still have to develop the both brains, both sides of your brain. So just because you are more inclined for to the left side, you are going to be more, you're going to study maths and science. It doesn't mean now you can't absolutely do an art subject. You can still work on that side of your brain and develop it. So if you're more more right brained, you need to finish what you start. So basically more right brain people, because they're more into thinking and imagining. So you might find that they find it more difficult to finish, because you start and then you start thinking of other things, then you lose track of time, and then very soon you find that you're not able to finish what you started. So you must try to start with the aim of finishing and getting through your work, and know that the objective is to get through the work. The goal is to go through the work, instead of just starting and then not knowing whether you're going to finish. So you start, then you have a goal to finish, and then keep your daydreaming under control. So you're most likely to go off with your thoughts, maybe linking one thing to another. Maybe if you are trying to study maybe the environment, then the chapter on environment, then you are maybe asked to think about a campaign that can save the environment. And then maybe you go off thinking about other things like celebrities who wear fur and who are meat eaters, and you trying to change the world. You trying to get people to like, you think of things that are off the rail. So you need to try to focus more, do focused thinking, and try to keep your daydreaming under control. And then make an extra effort to hand in your tasks on the due date. So make sure that you don't get late. As a person who's more right brained, you are most likely to maybe forget about, maybe go off and spend a lot of time doing things, and then find yourself handing in your work late. So what you should do is make an effort to hand in your task on the due date, and then what you can do is start your work much more earlier. If you start your work much more earlier, then you give yourself enough time to finish on the right time. So make summaries to help you focus. So remember, summaries, you don't make them at the end of the chapter like we said yesterday. What you should do is you make your summary maybe at the end of every unit, so that you can be able to revise what you did for the unit, or what you did for the heading. So maybe there's a heading like um study skills, or maybe let's deal with what we're doing with the right brain. So maybe you'll read up everything about right brain dominance, and then After right brain dominance, you're going to do a summary and try to remember the work instead of now waiting until the end of the unit or the chapter and then trying to remember everything. So it's better to keep on making summaries so that you can stay focused. And then order information into headings. This should be easy because your textbook already gives you headings. So when you study and write your information down, when you're writing your notes, you keep your notes under headings. You keep your the points that you're writing and the facts that you're keeping down and your keywords, you keep them under headings, and then try to be more organized. So organize everything from your room to your files, your textbooks. Try to put things in alphabetical order or numerically, and just try be more organized even in times of time. Write down a timetable and just of your handing date and your test dates and exam dates, and then use your study plan and file your notes like I just said. So you're going to go according to your study plan, and then what you're also going to do is you're going to file your notes neatly, like I said, either alphabetically or numerically. And then you're going to use pictures, symbols, drawings, mind maps, and images and charts when you study. So this is because you're a more creative person. So you are most likely to remember the things that you study if you use pictures, if you use drawings, if you use mind maps and images that help you to remember your work, and charts too. And then use your imagination in subjects such as languages. So when you're learning your languages, you can draw up scenarios and visualize stories, write little stories down so that they can help you remember the work. And then write down directions and instructions if these are given to you orally. So don't just expect to remember something when it is being said by the teacher. Keep a diary and write it down. There's nothing wrong with writing down. It's not for slow people. So do keep a diary and write down directions that are given to you, homework, how to go about doing your assignment. So you are welcome to write down the notes. And then for the more left brained people, the more critical, objective people, like I said, answer the factual questions first in your question papers because you are a more factual person. So you're going to go into your question paper and answer the questions that require you to be factual. And then you're going to leave the questions that require you to be more imaginative to the more open questions, open-ended questions where you need to give your own examples and just reason or motivate. So you're going to leave those questions for last. And then work on your strengths and enter competitions for math, science, and accountancy. So that will be you working on your strengths, entering competition for math, science, and accountancy because those will be your strong areas. And then join a maths or science study groups to help other learners. So you can help other learners who are not left brained. So remember, they can also develop their left brain too. So it doesn't mean just because you're right brained now you're going to fail your physics and your maths. No, you can still study and apply yourself and you can still pass and still do well. So that it's just that you're going to know that you have to put in more effort now. So you can't maybe leave your maths for late. You should now focus, put more time into your maths and science, and then you know that you're a person who just is going to flow very easily with languages and the creative subjects. So you are going to need to balance. So if you are more left brain person, please do go and help others. And then keep all your notes organized and ready for when you want to start. studying. So remember, just like the right brain people, you're also going to go in and you're going to start organizing yourself. So you can't say because now your left brain dominant, you are going to now be unorganized. So you still need to organize yourself so that whenever you want to study, you can just start without a problem. Then practice answering open-ended questions. Now you also have to go during your study time and practice answering those questions that need you to motivate, that need you to come up with solutions and be innovative, and questions that require you to go out of, that don't just need you to state the facts, they also need you to motivate. So you need to study in a quiet room too. So study in a quiet room, make sure there aren't any distractions. And I think this also goes for the right brain people too. So do try to study in a quiet room. Make sure that there is no noise so that you don't get disturbed. And then try not to be critical of others who do not think like you do. So we can't apply statements like right brain people are more intelligent than, no, left brain people are more intelligent than right brain people, or vice versa. So everybody is unique and everybody has their own strengths. So whatever your strengths are, you work on them and you'll be more successful when you use your strengths. So improve your imagination by allowing yourself to think of possible endings to stories and films. So that is how you can improve your imagination. So maybe you're reading a book, so maybe you can stop at the end of the chapter and think about what you think the next chapter is about. Or when you're watching a story, you can just decide that, try to imagine what the ending of the movie will be, or of the series will be. So try to be more creative. Do not criticize your efforts at art. So try to be more creative, do the creative things. So you're not going to shy away from joining an art club or whatever just because you're not a creative person. Remember, you still need to develop that area. So you also need to work on it. So remember not to be hard on yourself and say, I can't dance, I can't paint. Remember, you're just doing these things to develop that side of your brain until you find a balance. So you don't need to criticize your efforts. So in art, music, and writing, so just do it for fun. At the same time, you will be learning. So I'm going to also speak about something else. So there are different strengths that you can have as a person too. For instance, you can have a verbal strength, a logical, mathematical strength. So the logical, mathematical strength will be like the one for the left brain people. So they work best when you have a daily planner or a timetable. So you'll enjoy maths, physics, and then you'll be good at estimating. And then you quickly understand cause and effect relationships. And then for visual and spatial strengths, which will be for more right brain people, you read charts and maps easily. So you have a good sense of direction, and then you remember things best by seeing them. You enjoy solving jigsaws, mazes, and other visual puzzles, and you can anticipate moves and consequences in a game like soccer, netball, and chess. So you just know, it's like you're able to tell which direction a game is going. So you also prefer group activities, interpersonal strength. These are interpersonal strengths. So preferring group activities to those that you have to do alone. So you enjoy team support rather than individual sport. So this is when you have an interpersonal strength. So you enjoy sharing ideas, feelings with others, and then you work best in a cooperative group where you can discuss issues with others, and then you enjoy learning about different cultures. And then body kinetic and physical strength. So these are people who are more likely to learn better when they are moving. So you're curious about how things feel and you like to touch objects to feel their texture. And then you're very well coordinated. And then you enjoy creating things with your hands. And then you prefer to be physically involved rather than sitting, watching and listening. So sports, you're more sports, athletics. So you don't like sitting and watching. So you wouldn't be the spectator. So you love to move, tap, or fidget when sitting, and then you like working with your hands, and then you participate in extreme sport. So that would be a bodily kinetic physical strength. And then an environmental strength is when you're actively involved in protecting the environment. You like planting and caring. You like collecting things like shells, mags, rocks, and stamps. So you prefer to be outdoors rather than indoors, and then you will learn best when you can go on field trips to explore, observe natural exhibits or outdoors. So you'll learn better when you're outdoors, you're taking visual trips and tours. And then musical strengths or creative strengths. So you play music, you make rhymes to remember things. So if you're more creative, you'll even make rhymes to remember things. So it's easy for you to follow the beat of music, and then you can keep time when music is playing, and then you also find it easy to engage in musical activities. So, yeah, visual learners are learners who learn by seeing. They prefer sitting in front of the classroom to avoid things that might be in the way of their vision. So, if you are that person that likes sitting in the front of the class, then you most probably a visual learner. And then you think in pictures, and then you also learn from visual displays such as diagrams, illustrated textbooks, overhead transparencies, videos, flip charts, and handouts. And then you need to see the teacher too, the teacher's body language and facial expression to fully understand the content of the lesson. So, and then during the lesson or classroom discussion, you prefer to take detailed notes to help you absorb the information. So you're not likely to like write schematic notes or keywords. You're most likely to want to write as much information as possible in order to remember, and that would be a visual learner. And then auditory learners, they learn through listening. So they learn best through verbal lessons, discussions. So somebody needs to speak to you, talking things through and listening to what others have to say. So someone has to explain to you thoroughly. And then you also need to hear what others have to say. And then you learn through reading texts out loud, and then you can interpret the underlying meanings of speech through listening to tone, pitch, and the speed of the voice. And then written information has little meaning to you until you have heard it. So just reading would not be enough. You need to now listen to someone saying it. So maybe when you're at home and your teacher's not there, you can like Google videos so that you can see someone, you can hear someone speaking, and you can see that person explaining to you, which would be better for you. And then, or listen to audios of the subjects that you are trying to learn. And then, body kinetic is for physical learners. They learn through moving, doing, and touching. And then, the best is through a hands on approach. actively exploring the physical world around you. So you don't want someone to tell you about it or read about it. You want to experience something. So you also find it hard to sit still for long periods. I mean, sometimes become distracted by the need for activity and exploration. So those are the different study styles. Basically, not even study styles, but things that can help you find out what kind of a person you are, whether you're left-brained, right-brained, and then whether you are a visual learner, an auditory learner, or a body learner. And then we told you if you're more left-brained, what you can do, the advice, and then when you're left brained, what you can do, I think you can also try to read up on it too. So now you know what you're most likely to do. So for your activity, you're going to tell me what the strengths of left brain people are and what the strengths of right brain people are. So that is just so that you know, and then that would be it for the class. Does anyone have anything to say? Any comment? Um, any question, comment, anything that you want to tell me or tell the class about studying? Yes, you can tell us if you want to speak. Nobody wants to tell us anything with regards to studying, study skills, study styles. No comments. You can go to the chat box or raise a hand and then we'll unmute you. So no one has anything. All right, then that would be it for today's lesson. So we'd have to meet again tomorrow. And tomorrow is a Wednesday, so you can please join me on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, and it is at 2 o'clock again. So thank you for joining me for the lesson, and you can get more information about us at Africa Team Geeks, and then you can go to the website. Remember to sign up for the newsletter so that you can get the timetable and so that you can also get the links when they change. And then you can follow us on at Africa Teen Geeks on all social media platforms, and that is where you can also get information. So thank you very much for joining the lesson. Goodbye and see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.